Nigeria has continued to witness some of the worst brutal cases of violation of freedom of expression and civil liberties, especially under this Buhari regime. The question on the minds of Nigerians: for how long will Nigerians be able to hold out?
Well, one thing I know is that no condition is ever permanent, and one thing that is also a certainty in life is change. The issue is what kind of change. So it is not a surprise when you look at the CVs, the profile of the political leadership of this country. It is not a surprise that Nigeria has constantly been dragged in the mud because we have, a plethora of people who do not understand what leadership means, who are not sensitive and responsible to the positions they hold, who have no sense of responsibility at all. I mean, that is clear. Is clear. Otherwise, a country like Nigeria, blessed beyond measure, acknowledged both locally and internationally as potentially rich, is continually mired in all kinds of socio-economic contradictions. It is all absolutely as a result of leadership. So the people that are managing the country have completely run it aground. And so we are no longer talking about even economic instability. We are no longer talking about difficulty, of the people to feed and to carry on with basic, sustenance. We are now talking about the danger to the Nigerian state, the danger of total collapse. And we are almost there. If you look at, from international data and everything, when a government can no longer protect itself and protect its citizens, you can only be talking about a failed state because it's only a failed state that lacks that ability because that is the primary responsibility of government. You're talking about repression, you're talking about the denial of the rights of people, you're talking about the absence of the rule of law or the complete contempt and disdain for the rule of law by the ruling elites and so on, especially, this government. We realize that we have never had it so bad, not even during the military administration. And it is clear, and you look at so many things that are happening. For instance, the fact that they are trying to bring back Decree 4, through the back door. The fact that what happened some time ago to Showore, the military never had the boldness and the courage when we had full-blown military dictatorship to invade a sitting court. We must put it in perspective. Under a military administration, it never happened that a legitimately constituted court was sitting in the country and then the security forces invaded the court to arrest, a citizen of this country. So that gives you an idea of the extent of the anti-democratic tendencies and nature of the people that are in governance. So that is why decency means nothing to them, and that is why our president went for an education summit recently. As he went there, hundreds of students were in the hands of captives. You can imagine what the turmoil the parents are going through, their siblings, their relations are going through. They cannot sleep, they cannot eat, and so on. Our president enters the plane and he's comfortable, doing that. But we have seen how even how even other leaders to whose country he goes to for treatment, how they respond when one single individual, the policeman that was killed some time ago, in the United Kingdom, I can't remember his name now. The British Prime Minister then was in France for a bilateral meeting with the French president. That was important enough. One person for him to cut short a meeting of that importance and return back to address his people. Here, hundreds are being killed. It doesn't matter. All the the day the president bothers to speak is just to warn the people that are doing it. And then look at the nepotism. In fact, this present government has passed all boundaries. There was always a minimum requirement for governance in this country, regardless of who the president was, even under the military dispensation. You had instances where you look at least as much as possible in consonance with the federal character provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. See how even the military was, appointed administrators across the country, regardless of ethnic affiliation. That's why we could have an Igbo person come to Lagos State and become military administrator within the NDBC Kano and the UBTQA. You have somebody from the southwest who goes to Owerri. He's a military administrator there. You have somebody from the middle belt or from the southeast, he goes to all the way to Sokoto and all of that. So all of those things have been broken down, have been demystified by the current occupier of political office in the country. And that's why there's so much uncertainty. There's so much fear. There's so much belief that the country cannot be put together again. But the fact that some of us are here still speaks volume to the fact that there are still a few people who believe that perhaps something can be done to salvage the country. That's why we are doing what we are doing. Let it not be asked one day, when the country was going under, was there anybody who stood up to be counted? And you look around, there was not one single person. We have a lot of people today. There are maybe not too many young ones. You can see a lot of people that are here are young people. So that gives you an idea that there's hope for the future. But as for this administration, this is a repressive, a most repressive government. In the most repressive government in the history of this country, and it is only going to get worse. But do you know why they have resorted to this? It is because they have run out of ideas about how they are going to govern. That is the basic reason why they have gotten to this level. They don't know what to do, they have lost track of what to do, and even if they knew, they don't care. They don't care because it is not about Nigeria. What is happening is not about Nigeria. What is happening is about satiating certain parochial and primordial interests, which are not in tandem with the progress of this country. That is just what is happening. And it's unfortunate that we can say this of our political leadership, but there's no other conclusion we can arrive at when we have seen what is going on in the country.
So your final thoughts, what should Nigerians be doing, gearing up for a session of occupations on the streets and protests?
Well, you see, people have said, talking about Africa's deep-rooted political economic problems, people have posited, even international actors have said, look, ultimately at the end of the day, that the liberation of Africa is down to the hands of Africans. Africans must be able to liberate their own continent. They are not going to do it for us. You understand? They don't have the kind of stakes that we have. So the same thing applies to us. That if we want to, a country that works, if we want a country that answers to our aspirations and hopes, then Nigerians themselves must be able to stand up to be counted. And I think that has been the major issue. Don't also forget that a multiplicity of factors are responsible for the docility and passivity you see among Nigerians.
Exactly.
Part of it, maybe number one, is education. Nigeria and conscientization. Nigerians are not politically educated. I'm not just talking about education of a university in the four walls of a school. Nigerians do not have the right political education. Perhaps part of it is the fact that history is no longer being taught. For a very long time, history was not taught, and it was deliberate. It was deliberate. The people who did that were deliberate. Did it deliberately. Then there is the issue of the deep-rooted division by the same political elites. Because you see, once they allow a people to come together, people will begin to ask themselves, why are we in this situation? Why? And then they no longer see those schisms, those divisions that make them look at things from different prisms. They will only look at the commonality of interest. Why are we not able to feed ourselves? Why can't our children go to school? Why is our security situation like this? So they use this division to stop the people from asking questions that are relevant for their emancipation. Because after having asked this question and they have come up with the answer, the next thing is, what do we do about our situation? And so the political class has always thrived on division to keep the people from asking the questions that they should ask and from taking action. So that's another thing. And then there is the fear of the state repression, which we have been seeing. But unfortunately for them, if they go back to history, but of course they don't have any sense of history, they will know that we had a Mobutu Sese Seko in Africa, we had an Idi Amin in Africa, we had Jembede Bokassa, the butcher of the Central African Republic in Africa. We have had dictators have come and gone. Most of them have gone shamefully, with their tails in between their legs. Most of them, were disgraced out of office. So that is the way of all the dictators. And so if they knew that, then they will begin to change their ways. But if they do not change their ways, of course, perhaps the time is not right. But a lot of us are doing a lot of work to convince the people. And let me tell you the truth, we have achieved one major victory, and that is the fact that Nigerians know that their leadership cannot be trusted. There is no where you go to today, even those ones that are defeated, even those ones that have been defeated psychologically, those ones that collect money to vote in elections, knows that the people they are voting for on whose behalf they collected this money are not good people. They know that. You understand? But so we need to be able to take that knowledge to the very next level so that we can begin to, action, to put action to that knowledge that the people have. So the first thing has been done, and that is awareness and knowledge. That regardless of where they are coming from, that they are the same. Regardless of where they look at the COVID-19 palliatives, look at what happened to the COVID-19 palliative. Governors in the southwest in Lagos, governors in Enugu, governors in Kano, in Abuja, in Akwa Ibom, they all reacted the same way. They all hoarded something that should have gone to the people. So where is all those divisions that exist that they have always used to keep the people divided? But when it comes to personal interests, you see a unity of purpose among all of these people. So these are some of the issues that we should be looking at.